So, how much you should get in your settlement agreement exit package is probably the question that we get asked the most here at Monaco. And the answer to that really obviously depends on your case, the strength of your evidence. Now, it's not a tribunal situation, it's a negotiation. So, why would anyone care about evidence? I hear you say, well, if you think about it, your employer isn't probably going to give you a good deal unless they really believe that you've been really badly treated. And more than half the time, they don't really know what's gone on. It might be different rungs of management. You might be talking to HR. You might have had a problem with your line manager, or you might have had, something that happened to you that basically they either didn't know happened, or they don't believe it, or they don't really understand the way it's affected you. So the first thing to do is look at your evidence. Now, what's good in terms of evidence? We've got a whole article about evidence, a whole section about evidence on the site. So definitely read more about that elsewhere. But in a nutshell, written evidence is probably your number one best thing, because no one can really say that an email wasn't sent, or a WhatsApp or a text or something wasn't sent. Other than that, keep a diary of events. And then witnesses, very difficult to get. You might think that your colleagues will be witnesses for you, but when it comes to the crunch, they're employees too, and they probably don't want to leave their jobs right now. So they don't really want to get on the wrong side of management. But if you can get witnesses, great, get some witnesses. Other considerations apart from evidence is the type of case. Now, broadly, there's two situations you'll probably find yourself in. One is redundancy, and one is a dispute. So looking at those separately, for redundancy situations, these are pretty difficult if lots of people are going. So, for example, if a whole department's going, then perhaps they're outsourcing that particular type of work to a different country, offshoring it, or onshoring it back to another country, or just closing down a whole location, whether it's an office or a factory. It's very difficult to argue that you should be entitled to a better deal in those situations, because it's often a very genuine economic need, and an employer is perfectly entitled to change up their structure and make a whole bunch of people redundant. Now, if on the other hand it's just you going, so it's just a one person or a small group of people going, and you have got grounds to say that perhaps it shouldn't be you, it should be someone else, so perhaps that person wasn't considered and put in the pool with you. So the pool is the group of people who you're objectively scored against. Or you might have a problem with the objective scoring itself, so that you were considered against that person, but the criteria, perhaps the criteria itself was unfair. It might have measured number of sick days, but you might be disabled, so that might have put you at a disadvantage there, for example. Or it might be that the criteria is okay, but the scoring is wrong. So for whatever reason, you might dispute, whoever did the scoring, perhaps you didn't like you, or there might be a different reason why the scoring is wrong. You can go into detail, and using all these kinds of ways of kind of exploring the process, you're able to negotiate yourself a higher amount. So that will inform how much you should get. Looking at the dispute situation, pretty much anything can happen at work. That anything that we see in the schoolyard, on the streets, that actually everything in the home, everything, the kind of dynamic, it might not be exactly the same thing, but there'll be an equivalent action that can happen at work. So, it really just depends what happened to you. Obviously, the more serious the incident or the mistreatment that you've received, arguably the more you should get, and also the more you're able to prove that thing. And there are other factors as well that really don't relate to the situation at all. Okay, these are what I would think of as external factors. They relate to you, so your salary. The more you're earning, the more you should get. How long you've been there, partly because you've probably built up a good rapport with your colleagues and with the people who are making these decisions. You also have got more value to add in terms of a handover when you're leaving, and perhaps you're going to train up your successor, or finish off a few projects. That's always a good negotiating chip you can use. And then other factors that really relate to your determination to kind of go ahead and succeed in this negotiation. So they're going to judge, what have you got the bottle to see this through? And there might be a bit of brinksmanship where you're really having a standoff, a kind of Mexican standoff. Neither side wants to back down. So are you going to go to tribunal is a question they're going to be asking themselves. Now, no one wants to go around threatening that. That's not a really good situation to be in at work. So we don't recommend that you even mention it, but you can do certain things to kind of show that you really mean business. So when you're writing your letters, you do that in a really good style with very professional formatting. I know formatting sounds a bit petty, but it makes a huge difference if you can write a letter well. And use some of the templates on our website for that. And also, you know, perhaps the fact that you have got lawyers, I mean, that is a huge signal, to be honest. I'm not just saying that, but anyone in HR or on the company side who's going to make the decision about how much to actually settle with you, the settlement amount, they're going to look at, has this person got lawyers? And if they have, they're obviously a serious contender to take the whole matter further if it can't be settled amicably. So just having lawyers, and then of course the fact that if you do have lawyers, they'll also, you know, help you with the actual case itself and tell you what to say, and that's going to strengthen your case as well. And there's a huge number of other factors which, you know, you can read more about here, and there's our calculator where we actually kind of give you a rough indication just by you ticking a few boxes and putting your salary and your notice period in, and there's a few notes surrounding that calculator, so definitely try out that calculator. And then also feel free to get in touch with us for a free consultation, because we will also tell you on the phone how much you should get in your case as well. So that's just something that we'll do within a 15-minute free consultation for you. Okay, so good luck. Thanks. Bye.